Hey guys, this is Zemrex, bringing you the top 10 best champions for the top lane in the game League of Legends. Now please keep in mind that this list is constantly changing and evolving throughout time, so be sure to subscribe and stay ahead of the game with future videos. So for number 10, I decided to go with Wukong. I think Wukong is a really strong champion overall and has a lot of potential throughout the game. Although he does have the initial hump in the early game where his sustain is a little bit iffy and you have to build around it, and it's a little bit tricky, but with enough playtime you will get used to it. He's really strong in the late game, definitely with his passive Stone Skin and his ultimate Cyclone. These are something that works very well, giving you the edge over your opponent, and something I personally really like. He does have a gap closer and decoy. Also, you can push the S key and use a little bit of juke maneuvers there to get away from your opponent. It's something that I find really interesting and fun about Wukong, and not many champions have a kit similar to him, and I really do enjoy him. You guys should definitely check him out in the top lane. Really good pick right now and works very well in the current meta. For number 9, I decided to go with a niche pick here, and that's going to be Fiora. Now, Fiora is one of those champions that you can consider a glass cannon. Highly susceptible to crowd control and doesn't have any forms of CC, so competitive play is kind of iffy, and you have to really play her in a very specific role. But besides that, guys, she's got the high damage, high mobility, and attack speed, really good dueling potential, and her ultimate, she becomes immune to everything, so it's just something to have. Her team fighting capabilities and the ability to lock down squishies, even tanks when you get your items going, is just a really nice thing to have. I think she's a really strong pick. I would kind of, build her in the top lane only if you're really comfortable with her. Try her out in the jungle as well, guys. I do enjoy her there. So definitely something to check out. Good pick overall. Number 8, picked Vladimir. Now, Vladimir is a champion that hasn't seen too much change and kind of spikes every once in a while in play rates, but overall is really strong and has a lot of potential. He's actually got a little bit of dueling potential, and after level 9, it's really hard to stop him. His sustain is just crazy. He's got that tank where he can absorb huge amounts of damage, and he becomes a real laning bully. Something that I really like, and he's hard to gank too, believe it or not, even though his escapes are kind of iffy. He's got that hard lockdown due to his pool. The only con is, he has no real forms of CC, and the spell range is a bit iffy. But aside from not having any solid burst damage, his damage is still pretty consistent and something I do enjoy. And no mana cost is always a plus. So guys, you should definitely check him out. And coming at number 7 is going to be Irelia, my personal favorite champion. And for that, the reason is that she's got really no cons other than her weak early game. And the problem that she's very acceptable to ganks and jungle pressure. But aside from that, guys, with a little bit of practice, there's not many drawbacks to her. She's very strong, tanky, mobile, great duelist, great bruiser, a little bit of burst to her if you build her in kind of the AD's fashion, and she's got that lockdown and hard CC due to her E, and her passive allows her to excel in team fight situations. With your Q, you have very time easy farming. Definitely a champion if you're kind of new to farming or having a bit of issues. Something to try if you build mana regen. And she's also the strongest melee champion against ranged characters, in my opinion. And she's got one of the biggest item pools in regards to counter building and building, so something you should definitely check out. I'm kind of being a little biased here, but definitely one of the best champions, in my opinion. For number 6, I decided to go with Nasus. Now, Nasus is a champion who is still really viable and very strong in the game. Although his play rate has gone down, he just never really falls off, and he always remains a constant threat. You do have the drawback, though, of not really being as much team fights as you should. So a good Nasus player can balance that very well. But besides that, you just have the great ability to take down towers, and PvE objectives overall are just really easy and very excellent to do. But he is farm reliant and can be kited, so that's the only drawback. Aside from that, guys, Nasus is a great pick, and if you're just looking for a comfort little pick, and if that's what you're here for, guys, definitely pick him out. A very cheap champion, and you can't go wrong with Nasus. For number 5, I decided to go with Yorick. Now, I was a little hesitant on this pick, but I felt he is really strong, and he kind of fills a role that not many other champions can. He's got good sustain, got freezing potential, and he's very annoying and harassing in the lane. And he also has, considerably one of the hardest countering pools in the game. So it's always, kind of interesting to have that in the top lane. But he does the scale as well as he should. But he can tank Baron very well and be just that ultimate thing that your team needs. especially if you're looking for a kind of damage-based tank. I think he's really strong. If you're not going to go with him, I'd say Nasus is a really good pick. It's kind of hard to explain by pick for him, but if you just hear me out, guys, he's really strong and definitely a champion who I personally suggest playing, especially if you're trying to look for some free low. While he isn't much of a carry, he is still very strong and helps your team out tremendously. For number 4, we decided to go with Pantheon. Now, Pantheon's a great champion. He doesn't have escapes, which is a kind of a drawback, and if you don't build him properly, he can kind of fall off. But aside from that, guys, he's just that off tank who can close those gaps and peel and really help your team out in situations. His ultimate allows him to move the map and help your team out if he's split pushing. So it's just something that I consider to be really nice. And the utility on that is pretty awesome. He is also really strong against a lot of top laners right now, being like Nasus, Riven, Vladimir, stuff like that. So his counter picks are pretty viable, and people who counter him aren't really played as much anymore. So I do find Pantheon to be a really solid pick, and definitely one that you should grab because going in the mid lane or jungle is also something really nice that this champion has. So if you want to main him, it's really good since you always have a spot on the team where you can play him. Next is a champion that's got a lot of play rate since 4.15. That's gonna be Maokai. Now Maokai is a champion that a lot of people didn't consider to be a viable pick, and after a few changes, he came into the meta and really strong. So basically, the pros and cons of Maokai, he's got that low damage and he can kind of be ganked a lot due to his escapes. But he's got the gap closers, he's got the targeted crowd control, and he can gank lanes, mid lane particularly, which really helps him out. But if you do run teleport, the bot lane, I have seen a lot of people help carry games that way by just being that overall threat across the board. And his built-in sustain is really nice. Also, his protection in team fights is something really ideal, and a lot of people actually like that. So overall, he's just something that you want to have on team, and if you can play him properly and a little bit experienced, guys, Maokai can take your team to a whole new level. The downside is he is AP top, something I personally don't like, but he is beefy and he does bring that tankiness to the team. So I mean, it is a nice thing to have, especially if you're going to have a AD mid laner or a heavy AD team, particularly jungle and such. So that way you don't have to mess up your team comp. But aside from that, guys, you definitely should check him out. Definitely worth playing, and if you're just looking for a champion with a unique kit, definitely he is the way to go. For number 2, I decided to go with Riven. Now, she's a really strong champion, has really high AD ratios, making her deal damage even when she goes a little bit tanky. Her kit allows for some great teamfight initiation, and also allows for strong split pushing potential. With her high mobility, strong dueling capabilities, the only drawback to Riven is that she's not tanky, and she uses her damage abilities to close gaps that can kind of hurt you over, and she relies on flash in teamfights to get onto the carry. But aside from that, guys, she has strong snowball potential, and I find Riven to be a good pick. Before we move on to number 1, I just want to give a quick shout out to 3 champions, Rengar, Jayce, and Rumble. I personally think these champions are overlooked and have a lot of potential in the game, but they aren't worthy of the top 10, so I decided to leave them out. But if you ever get a chance to pick them up during a sale or a free week, definitely give them a shot, as I do think they are really good picks, and you guys might like them. Especially Jayce and Rumble, they have unique kits, and Rengar also is a very versatile champion, so it's something to have on top of that. It's just icing on the cake. For number 1, I decided to go with Ryze. Now, Ryze is a champion that has been showing himself really worthy of the past few months of being such a capable top laner. Basically, he's got really high dueling potential, and his kiting mechanics allows him to basically really work against bruisers, something that's very common in the top lane right now. He also has, no skill shots, all point and click, so very easy to use. He snowballs really hard, and he can set up ganks very well with his kit, so it's just something that's really nice to have. And he's just got that one of the really strongest dueling potentials in the game, high burst damage for just building tanky. I can go on and on about Ryze, guys, but he's really strong, and for 450 champion, it's kind of ridiculous. He doesn't have too many drawbacks other than being weak to CC, and he needs his ultimate if he's want to be a really good pusher. But aside from that, guys, you should definitely try him out. I mean, 450 champion, you can't go wrong. The only downside to Ryze is he is banned a lot, guys. He's got one of the highest ban rates right now, so it is kind of iffy to play him in the ranked. But if you can grab him. Definitely try him out in normals and just keep him as a side pick. If you're looking to carry, I would go with like Riven as your first pick, but that's just me. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to drop a comment if you think I missed a champion that's your personal favorite. Also, be sure to like this video if you found it useful, and be sure to subscribe and check out my channel if you're looking for more League of Legends content regarding every other lane champions. So something that also I really would appreciate if you guys did is drop a suggestion or anything along those lines, and I will be sure to read those. So thank you guys for watching, and see you guys later.